Well, installation-wise, we're throwing a lot at them right now. It's a, as Chip likes to say, it's a pro-style offense that goes fast and has a lot of moving parts, a lot of different protections, a lot of different schemes in the run game, and passing concepts that are different for the kids. Luckily, a lot of the run concepts are the same things. Maybe just different terminology or whatnot. But the run schemes are good, and what they've been doing. The thing where we've been forcing the offensive line to learn is with the protections and the amount of protections we're carrying. I think we put 6 new protections in today, 4 new ones yesterday. So just the quantity of things we're asking the guys to learn and do up front from a protection standpoint is what we're really pushing on them right now. But at the same time, it's what's really going to help us and be beneficial.
Looking at the 2 transfers, you got 2 pretty good programs.
Right.
You're working them inside right now. Is there any chance they might move outside, or do you like them where they're at now?
We talk about position versatility and those things, but at the same time, I really want to get these guys playing well next to each other. I want to get them understanding how to play next to each other. I want to have those inside guys, playing next to Weston, being able to trust Weston, hear what Weston's saying from a communication standpoint, getting them solidified in those spots. Now, does that mean we're not going to bump some guys around and do some things as we kind of get towards the end of spring and into the summer? Yeah, we'll do that like we have in the past. But right now, I think it's very important that these guys get used to playing next to each other. The continuity that we've got to have, and that way if one person goes out, the next person goes in, and it's not a complete reshuffle of the offensive line, like some of the issues we've had to deal with in the last couple of years.
Okay. Could you go in a little more detail about the learning the protections, like how many are there versus how many there were, just kind of the challenge of learning new terminology, that sort of thing?
Yeah, terminology, the line calls aren't different. It's just, there's some added line calls to help the guys out. Protection-wise, we're carrying a lot. It's a high volume. It's very similar. It's not more than I've carried in the past, as a line coach, some different places. But again, as far as, talking about the past or the future, I just want to talk about what we're doing right now. And, we are challenging the guys to do this. If you wanted me to go details, we could sit down for a couple hours and talk details of protections, but I'd love to do it with you. But there's a lot of ways to help guys out. There's protections if you have a really good 3 technique inside to get a double team on them. Protections to be able to get a double team on a nose guard if it's a really good nose. Protections to be able to help out a defensive end, if a tackle's struggling blocking a certain guy. Being able to manipulate the protections, change the protections, add new ones in, get help different spots, and really shore up the pocket and allow the quarterback to sit back there and operate. That's really been the biggest difference in the added stuff we're pushing on the guys right now.
Obviously, everything's subject to change right now. You have Jordan and then the 2 young tackles waiting. Like that experience factor. How much, I guess kind of how does that work? How are you seeing them progress? And even with Jordan, how much progression are you seeing?
Well, I'll start with Jordan because he's played a lot of football. I don't want to, jump out in front of the cart, but Jordan Williams has had a really, really good offseason. He's had a really good first 2 days of practice. He's changed his body. It's important to him. He's taken a leadership role from a vocal leadership, playing physical. I know we don't have pads on yet, so reserve some judgment until we get the pads on with that. But he's done everything that we've asked him to do, and he's starting to reach that potential that we've always talked about. And now it's not really potential; it's turning it into a product on the field, and that's why I've been really happy with him. But just he's in that 3rd year, and if you look at it as a freshman that came in a COVID year, I think we laughed the other day, he was 350-something pounds when he came back from the COVID break, and now he's down to 305. And, he's leaned himself up. He's strong. I'm expecting a really good year out of him. He's playing right side right now, the right tackle. The beauty of some of the things we're doing with protections, excuse me, is we don't necessarily have to put one guy on one side or this guy on the other side. If we do have a guy that might be a younger person, we can help him out in different ways. So it's not necessarily the blind side all the time. In the nature of college football, we can give some protection, some help one way or the other. Now, I have talked to Jordan about moving to the left, and he has worked some stuff on the left side. So the way we're doing it now is, between Jordan being able to play both sides, and that way we leave Wing and Jakaya really stationary on the sides they're on right now, and let those guys develop at those spots without having to mix those guys around. So Jakaya's been running with the first group, Wing with the second group at right tackle. Wing will get some reps with the first group as well. Again, a lot of it comes back to the offseason they've had. And even though it's been an abbreviated offseason up to now from what we were used to, they put a lot in and did a lot of things in the weight room and running-wise to help themselves and help their flexibility some of the strength and power in their lower body, some of the things that they really needed. Jakaya, still a young kid, but we're expecting a lot of things out of him. He's doing a good job out there, learning every day. And so I tell him, when you walk into a meeting room and you see guys bright-eyed, you can tell they're understanding things. You can tell they're knowing what to do better. There's a system that they can go about every day to learn what to do. And then once you learn what to do, it's a lot easier to go out there and play fast and not be, blinded by the big lights.
Rob.
Weston got some reps at the end of the season. How important is that for him to have a better understanding of what he needs to do coming into this year?
Yeah, I mean, anytime a freshman can get valuable game reps, regardless of the situation you're in the season or the game, a young guy to get those reps is a huge, huge benefit. And I think once we tallied it up at the end of the year, I think he had 60, 70 reps on the season, which that's a full game. And as a freshman, you can look back and say as a true freshman, you played a full game of live reps. It's only going to make you play faster when you get into the next spring that we're in right now. And a lot of things that he saw and happened to him are things you can't replicate in practice. So whether it's a cross dog versus Georgia or a backside blitz versus at Notre Dame, those things you can't replicate the speed of that in practice. So for him to be able to get those valuable reps and to mess those things up, and to whether give up a hit or a sack or to mess up a protection. All right, he's such a conscientious guy. You saw him standing back there with me today the whole time, watching the practice, asking every play, making the calls. You make those mistakes in the game, you're a lot less likely to make them again moving forward. So I think it was very, very beneficial for him to get those reps.
Ken?
It looks like, I think you have 13 guys out there. So you two. What are the challenges there? And is there anything you can say about what it is?
Yeah. I guess first off, the beauty of that, Ken, is you only play with 5 O-linemen. So we're double the number right now if you look at it from that standpoint. So, but that's the way you have to look at it. It's the position we're in right now. We've had some unfortunate injuries the last couple of years. Some guys that we would have thought at this point would have been factors and ended up having to take a medical or whatnot. But that's the place we're in right now. Obviously, the transfer portal is a different animal these days, and how you can address needs in free agency and moving forward. But we're only worried about the guys we have out there right now. I'm only worried about those guys, and I'm really happy with the guys we do have. And then obviously we'll have several more coming in the summer for B bodies to be kind of that third team and start developing those guys. So excited with those guys that are out there. As far as Nick goes, Nick unfortunately had to take a medical. He was someone that we were really high on last year coming in as a transfer, a guy that was a 3-year guy, had 3 years left, not just a senior grad transfer, but a guy that had 3 years and really factored into that depth. And if you look at a guy like Nick, and I don't want to go too in detail or whatnot, but he's one of the guys that when you bring a guy in last year for 3 years or a guy this year has 3 or 4 years as a transfer, they really kind of backfill you from that 2019, 2018 of those guys that would be your juniors and seniors on the roster. And when you do it that way, you're not necessarily having to plug and replace every year with just bringing in a grad transfer senior. So you're building depth with guys like Paul and Pierce, having 3 years left to play. It's replacing really guys from 2019, 18, those sort of guys, the guys that were in Mike May's class, that sort of deal. So that's the way you have to look at it, not always bringing in a guy that has 1 year, but a guy that has multiple years to be able to build. And now they create cohesion with the rest of the guys in the offensive line room as well. So it was unfortunate losing Nick, but it is fortunate he's able to be out here every day with us, and he's in the meeting every day, taking a good role. He's going to be a good asset, just like you talked about Ryan Spires was, helping us coach, helping the guys in the room, being kind of an extension of the coaching staff, but also an extension of a player.
Go ahead.
Just, kind of looking at the numbers and kind of how to work things. You have guys like Mike who had a good offseason. Just, in terms of developing depth, kind of how do you feel like it seems like it's kind of a step forward, a step back, losing guys that you thought you could count on at this point. Just kind of how do you approach that in terms of trying to develop that?
Well, you have to. I mean, the good thing is the way we're practicing right now, they're getting the reps. And with having 2 strong groups of offensive linemen, 10 guys that are out there right now, 11 or 12 that you have, they're getting a lot of reps. So I think yesterday we came off the field, there was 60-something total team reps. So, you're talking 30, 35 reps that each guy's getting, as opposed to when you're trying to run 3 groups out there, they're not, you're dividing it into thirds. So you're putting more reps on them, you're putting more experience on them every single day. That's really the first step, is being able to get those guys the live reps that they need. Another good thing is the amount of stuff that the defense is doing. the differences in the defense that they're doing, some things that help us get exposed to more stuff offensively. Anytime you can be exposed to as much as possible in preseason camp and spring practice, that only helps you moving forward. As far as the guys we have, I'm happy with the guys we have right now. Hopefully I've still got this smile on my face in a week from now or 2 weeks from now, but I will. I'm really pleased with them. And I told them after practice, their level of preparedness shows their level of care right now. And to be able to take all the install that we've put at them, I think you're saying forcing a fire hose down their throat right now with the install, but for them to come out and be able to carry it over and learn it and do it really says their commitment that they have. And there's only been one place in my coaching career where we could say you've got too deep everywhere. We had won a lot of games at UCF in those years, and I'm thinking back, we had 6 offensive linemen one year when we won the Fiesta Bowl. 7 offensive linemen at best. So it's not really anything different than happens a lot of places in the country. You got to know how to manage them and know how to get them reps, and then have a plan once the season gets here of who goes in and the next guy down, because obviously you want your 6th best offensive lineman going in the game, not just necessarily the backup at that position.
Rod?
You have a couple of walk-ons out there that you're getting to watch, probably would get a few more reps than they normally would have. Is anyone catching your eye?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Fusile, who's getting a lot of reps right now, he's a big, strong guy. We're playing him at tackle right now. He's probably a guy that's an inside player that can continue to develop for us down the road. Will Milam's getting a lot of reps out there. Known Will and his family for a long time. His dad was actually my academic advisor when I got here in school. So, he's getting a lot of reps out there. Will Lay's getting reps out there. He's been around a long time. So, I think anytime you get any guy's experience, it's a bonus. But I've been pleased with the walk-ons, really for the same reason of they're picking up the install. They're knowing what to do. The thing we talk about, knowing what to do, but how and why. They really are starting to understand now why we're doing it. From the presentations, the way we're installing, and the way we're building the install up, day to day, week to week.
Anything else for Coach Keith? We'll take these last 2.
I remember when you first got here, you were very optimistic about how you could recruit to here, about the technology and all that. And I'm curious kind of how your expectations, or your reality, kind of experience does match with your expectations of what
Yeah.
you like recruiting.
I still have the same belief. I still believe you can recruit here, that this is the place you can recruit. I mean, you look around, everything that we have here at Georgia Tech, I've got an unbelievable feeling and desire for this place and what this place is and what it can do for you. Have we had some unfortunate breaks as far as, literally breaks with injuries and whatnot? Yeah, and at the same time, we know it's not going to be an overnight thing as far as the recruiting goes and who you're getting. And, let's not turn a blind eye. We're going to put a product on the field this year that's going to allow us to recruit at a higher level. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
It seems like, with Chip and Chris and yourself, similar mindset, similar coaching styles, and obviously the friendship piece between all of you. Does that make it easier and a little more engaging for you in some ways, just to have guys like that they're the same style as you, or that you have experience with?
Yeah, I think anytime you have experience with somebody you coach with, it's a bonus, man, because you know how to how to get each other in a good mood. When they're in a bad mood, you know what to say to them. You know how to help each other out on the field when one person's going through one thing and one thing's happening. You just get a feel for guys, and that comes with experience, having been in a room with somebody, having been the same, a lot of the same backgrounds, working for the same guys. I think that, again, is a bonus, because there's a level of expectation that we have with the guys out there on the offense, and I think across the board, those guys have come in and have the same expectations and want the same end goal that we all have.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate you guys.